Welcome to 24.2 Tips and Strategy. In this video, we're going to cover the following. We're going to talk about setup, we're going to talk about pacing plan, we're going to break down the three movements, the row, deadlift, and the double unders. And somewhere popping up on the screen right now, you're going to find a link to watch the YouTube live of our coaches going head to head with Mr. Ant Haynes providing live commentary. A great way for you guys to look at different strategies at play and actually have some interviews talking to the athletes before and after each workout to hear about what they were thinking about and why they used each strategy. Let's get into 24.2. Firstly, let's talk about setup. You want to make sure your station is set up as close as possible. There's lots of different ideas out on the internet. Here's one idea. Have a look at Lee Coates and her setup. The only thing you guys need to think about here is if you are an erratic double underer, what I mean by that, you're someone who tends to move around on the spot, don't set up your station too tight. If the rope starts getting caught on the row or caught on the barbell, remember judges cannot help you in moving equipment, so make sure you've got adequate space, or if you're very efficient with your double unders and you stay in one spot, you can really tighten up that station as much as you possibly can. Let's talk about your pacing plan. When you watch the pros do this, you saw them basically move through 20 minutes of unbroken movements. For most of us, that is going to be an unrealistic strategy. The great thing about 20-minute AMRAPs is we can kind of break this workout into 4 segments. So you got first quarter, first half, last quarter, and then the final part. So what we want to be thinking about is RPE. We want to be making sure that our pace is consistent and sustainable across all of our rounds. What we mean by that is as much as possible, your time taken to complete every round should be more or less the same from start to finish. The only exception being when you're moving into the final 10-15% of that workout and we're pushing for a sprint finish. If anything, we want to go faster, but we don't want to go the other way around where our pace actually gets slower. In terms of how we devise a strategy, my best advice to you is to think about how many rounds you're realistically going to complete in this workout. Of course, don't compare or benchmark yourself to the pros. Have a look at other people, perhaps in your gym or people around you who've done this workout already and who have similar scores to yourself. Popping up on the screen right now is a breakdown of what your time per round has to be if you want to complete X number of rounds. So the easiest way to build a strategy here is create a strategy in terms of what's your row pace, how are you breaking if you're breaking the deadlifts, how are you breaking if you're breaking your double unders. Move through one round or maybe even 2 rounds at the pace you think you want to hold and time each round. Then create a projection as to how many rounds you will complete in the 20 minutes. What I will say is that Medeiros and Mertens were completing their rounds in around 145 or about 150 pace per round. So if you're finishing your warm-up round in under 150 or even under 2 minutes for most of you, you're going way too fast. In terms of how to break the movements, we need to break around our limiters. So what I mean by that is if double unders is your limiter, it means you have to slow down the row and you need to break up and slow down the deadlifts so that when you get to your double unders every time, you're as fresh as possible to execute those reps. If the deadlift is your limiter because of the load, you need to slow down your row, you need to break up your double unders so that you can execute your deadlifts as best as possible. Remember that when it comes to breaking up your movements. In terms of how this workout should feel, I like to break, as I said, this workout into 4 segments. If the last segment is going to be a 9 out of 10 effort, because this is never going to be a 10 out of 10 effort really, because there's still a high skill element needed for things like double unders. So let's say the last round's 9 out of 10, work your way backwards, all right? So the last quarter is a 9 out of 10, 3/4 of the way should be an 8 out of 10, at the halfway mark should really feel like a 7.5 out of 10, and we're starting this workout around a 6 out of 10. If you're starting a workout and you're ready at 9 out of 10, you're in for a tough time. We want to stay away from the red line at all times until we're getting to final part of this workout. Let's break down each of the movements starting with the row. Popping up on the screen now, take a screenshot of this, is how long it's going to take you to complete 300 meters at different 500-meter paces. What you will see here is that if your pace increases by 5 seconds, and as you're at your average 500-meter pace, you're only going to finish your row 3 seconds faster. So what we mean by that is it's a lot more effort to take 5 seconds off your average pace, but for very little reward, 3 seconds. So The only people I think that really need to be thinking about row paces are those who are actually looking to execute this workout unbroken, in which case transition speed, cycle speed, and row pace are going to be big separators in this workout. The name of the game here is you can probably go slower than you think if you are thinking about breaking up things like deadlifts and double unders. Some other little things to think about on the rower. Your straps. Set your straps up so they're loose enough you can slide your feet straight in and slide your feet straight out without having to play with the straps at all. Have a look at this video of Chris's row setup. You'll notice he has actually taped the straps. What that will do will stop the straps flapping around, and it will stop the straps getting lengthened as you start to pull them. Because it's a short row, we don't need to be securely fastened into that rower. The next thing that's really important is row exit and row entry. We've got to get really fast and really efficient with these entries and exits. Have a look at Chris here. One foot goes in, he pulls on a row, the other foot goes in. We want to start ticking away at that first meter as soon as possible. And as soon as the 300 is ticked over, row handle goes in and we slide the feet out and we move straight into the deadlifts. In terms of damper setting, this is going to be personal preference. Something I would think about is that, if the deadlift is a heavy deadlift for you, then it might be a smarter idea to actually bring your damper setting down lower than you normally would so that the row is not more heavy hinging contractions. Otherwise, I'm sure most people probably have a comfortable damper setting that they know they're going to use for most times. Let's move on to the deadlifts. The deadlifts, again, the load is really going to dictate your braking strategy on this. Also, if the double unders are a movement that's tough for you and is going to get tough as you accumulate later rounds, then breaking your deadlift is going to be a really smart idea just to keep your heart rate down. One other thing to think about is in terms of your hook grip or mixed grip or double overhand grip, something you should have been practicing already. Now's not the time to change up anything. For me personally, I stuck with the hook grip the whole way through. I know Medeiros and Mertens went with a mixed grip. That's just because I don't practice mixed grip. So changing to a mixed grip now would have been a really bad idea. Last movement before we finish this up is going to be double unders. Really important that you stay focused and present when you're doing your double unders, because tripping here is a really, really easy way to lose time on your workout. So have your strategy in place. Make sure you're staying focused and present on your double unders. Speak to your judge with regards to how you want them to count your double unders back to you, whether it's every single rep, it's when you break, or it's every 10, or maybe it's just the own 5, just the last 5. Would recommend that we all count our own double unders when doing them as well. Have a little look here of Lee in terms of how she puts that rope down. Really important that we're laying that rope down so it's nice and easy for us to transition to back in the next round. If we're just throwing the rope down in a heap, we're going to lose valuable time, valuable seconds, not accumulating any repetitions. Guys, that's a wrap for 24.2. Hope you found this video helpful. Good luck in your attempt.